And we are live, bi-weekly off-centered show. We are back. I am joined by Neo Cards and Comics, probably watching a Cavs game. Is there a Cavs game on tonight or no? There it is, like clockwork. The Cavs are scheduled at exactly the same time. That was planned. Flippin' Steve is here, and it looks like what looks to be a new shirt. Steve, new shirt?
Well, first time wearing it, but I bought it like in the winter. I bought it in like November. No, actually, probably October. Yeah.
All right. Tonight we're going to talk about the eBay PSA takeover, hobby takeover. Fanatics is trying to jump in and be like the big bad dog, but Collectors keeps on doing, meaning the company Collectors keeps on jumping in and kind of spoiling that party. It's going to be interesting. I'm in all of my fields because my youngest son's flag football team, I'm coaching it. I'm the head coach, and we lost last weekend in our opening week. Let me just explain how this went. Okay, so I've coached youth soccer before. Easy. Flag football, a little bit different to where you actually have to run plays. There has to be kind of like you have to work the ball to everybody, make sure everyone's touching the ball. I'm in an I-9 league where everyone's, it's not about winning, which I grew up in the 80s and it was different. Let's just say it's different. So it's all about, sportsmanship. Of course, we want to be, have sportsmanship out there. But yeah, everybody on the team wanted to win. We fell 12-6, but the first play of the game, I huddled up with them. It's 9-year-olds. And I said, hey guys, we're going for it all. First play. Logan, you're throwing the bomb to Elijah down the right side. So the first play of the game, they were all like their defense kind of, and typically, look, 8-9-year-olds, you're running the ball a lot, but I could tell. Now, granted, I met these kids that morning, practice, and then the game. So I met them that morning, scouted the team, figured out that Logan could throw deep. Elijah's fast. So it was just, hey, get the ball downfield. And my son snapped the ball. So you'd be surprised how many can't snap the ball. But anyway, he snapped it. Logan drops back, throws it on a rope, probably, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 25 yards downfield to Elijah. Touchdown, first play of the game. I'm yelling at like the parents on the sideline. That's how we drew it up. I'm like getting all of in my feelings about it. And we didn't score again for the rest of the game, but we were so close. We were so close. But anyway, yeah, flag football, man, that's a jam. People say like, why do you have kids, man? It's such a bummer, and the diapers and this and that. Those are the types of moments. Those are the moments. Actually, I remember my son on that first play. He was going ballistic when we scored on that first play. He was like, yeah, those are the moments that count when you have kids. Granted, and Steve, you can probably say the same. Neo doesn't have any kids, so he can't relate. But there's a lot of moments where you're like, damn, this is a lot of work. But there are certain moments like, you know what? This is actually pretty cool. So we had a good moment. And then I signed up my son to go for it. My oldest son is going to college in the fall. We signed him up for his off-campus dorm right before we went live. So yeah, that's my life story. And now we will move on to cards. You guys went to the show. I missed the show.
Is there a playbook, or do you guys just draw up the plays? I mean, the kids actually wouldn't study a playbook?
What's that movie with Will Ferrell and Mike Ditka? With the soccer movie?
I don't know.
Kicking and Screaming. All right, so my dad is 67, and I have a younger brother that's 20 years younger than me, so it's kind of like Kicking and Screaming a little bit. He coached my younger brother, who is 23. I'm about to turn 43. He coaches flag football, and he's like, hey, buddy, I've got you covered. I've got the whole playbook. I'll email it over to you. It's color-coded. But he put, of course, he's retired. He has all the time in the world. He's like, look, you've got to be organized with this thing. You can't play around. You can't, just wing it. You got to make sure everyone's in their spots. He's an ex-military guy. Mm-hmm. So it was really funny, though. He sent me the playbook, and then he called me, of course, like an hour after the game. I didn't answer. And then like 3 hours later, he's like, what? You're not going to call me back and tell me how it went? And so I told him how it went. It was, look, overall, and he was like, it was great. Good for you for getting out there and doing it. It's tough.
Well, you just literally, all you need to do is Tecmo Bowl 1, just 4 plays. And you should just screenshot it, print it out, and be like, all right, guys. So you can choose whichever team's plays you like. You got to have the Bo Jackson play in there.
Well, so what I did to simplify is the same exact formation to where you have the center. It's 6-on-6. So center, quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and that's the formation every single time. And then we're just running kind of different plays in that formation. But the problem is like, again, this is week 1. So I'm meeting them all. I'm like giving out jerseys, trying to make sure everyone like, what's your name? I've got name tags, all that stuff. And then I've got to figure out who's going to play where. And then we play the game, so it's kind of like you meet the team, you practice for 45 minutes and you play the game. So of course it's going to be a little discombobulated.
Well, you just get a black Sharpie and you have everybody write their last name on their forehead.
Well, I had tape. So I brought tape.
Use the tape. Okay. I was going to say, we used tape on our helmets back in the day, like in high school tryouts and stuff. Tape on the helmet, but I figure no helmet in flag football. So, or you should have everybody out there wearing the old leather helmets.
We already had like
red range helmets.
We already had divas on the team where basically it was like, there was literally kids that were like, hey coach, I'm not getting enough touches. I'm like, guys, it is 6 for 6. It's a 40-minute game. What do you mean you're not getting enough touches?
Did you have any kids doing sit-ups in their driveway afterwards, giving interviews?
They want to win, man. They want to win.
Doing like TikTok reels, doing sit-ups in their driveway. I've been like, coach didn't give me the ball today.
Oh man, it was funny. And then you've got parents on the sidelines yelling. So that's another kind of, side thing that's going on. It's wild. It's just funny when the league is basically like, hey guys, it's not about winning. It's about sportsmanship and having fun. And of course, that's the message I'm going to send. That's the message I'm going to send. But then everybody wants to win, so it's like, even the parents, the parents are like, little Jimmy, run, like going ballistic. Oh man, it was interesting. It was interesting. All right, we've got people in the chat. Before we get started here, you guys went to Chantilly. I'm jealous. I miss Chantilly because of flag football. So let's say hello here to Jordan Hudson. If it ain't live, it ain't Steve. What's up, big dog? Vintage card collector. Pick 6 cards. Who dat nation? Who dat? We got the NFL draft coming up in a few weeks. I am pumped to probably draft a tackle. Well, we always draft an offensive lineman. YOLO to Michael Ham. Excited we got the National coming up, creeping up on us here in the next few months, and we have secured lodgings. We will get into that later on. The Meme Factory just got home from Charlotte. Took my son to watch Luka destroy the Hornets in their last regular season home game. Ironically, me, Steve, and Ham were supposed to go watch Luka when we were in Atlanta for Culture Collision. We were like, we're not going to make it. And then he dropped 73 points on the Hawks that night. I was like, man, that probably would have been the game to go to. But
you're just tired. I had the bad foot too. So it was kind of like, man, I was like, how many steps am I going to have to go up at the stadium?
Yeah, it was like platoon out there. Steve showed up with like gangrene, and we're like, I'm not carrying Steve.
Hey, man, I'm still rehabbing. I had my 2nd day of physical therapy today for this.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
You guys thought I was faking. I was really, really hurt. Like everybody.
He's a little limping around Chantilly a little bit. I noticed he had a little gimp to him in Chantilly.
I've been to the specialist a couple times, and now
just amputate it, Steve. Just amputate. All right. Simon, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I definitely did not show anything this past weekend. I didn't show anything. Something sports cards. What's up? Orlando's in the house. Dustin, Rick Moranis and Little Giants.
Yeah,
kind of, probably. Dallas Warriors West Finals, Boston, Atlanta East. Is this the kind of the year that if the Celtics don't win, then what? Because, I mean, these are kind of like wasted talent seasons, right?
Tatum's cards are going to tank if they don't at least make it to the finals.
Yeah, did we lose Steve? All right, see you later, Steve. I brought up the Celtics, and he immediately jumped off. Basketball plays. It is kind of like that, Kamikaze. It's similar. And honestly, at this age group, it's just handoff. There's a lot of handoffs, running plays, that sort of stuff. Crazy Daisy joining the live. If Steve comes back.
She was on pre-stream.
Yeah, she was on. Maybe she just jumped up and bit Steve's neck, and that cut the camera. That would be a sad way to go, but it would be. Oh, there he is. Okay. We thought Daisy got you in the neck. There she is. Oh, hell. Look at that thing. Look at that little gremlin.
She's chilling. She's in her cup. Come here. You want to come up?
Why can't you be more like Daisy?
Come on. There we go.
All right. Why don't we fire off on this? We got it right out of the gate. Why don't we fire off on this one? What's each of your thoughts on the PSA eBay Golden merger? What that's going on, good or bad for the collector? Do you think the new eBay fees will drive more people to card shows? We'll start with you, Neo, since you made a video on it already. Have your thoughts changed since this morning?
No, I mean, I don't know that it's good or bad for the collector. It's good for the flipper, just from the ease of at least what they're pitching, anyways, with the ease of potentially grading, listing, and not having to like touch anything from that perspective. I don't think the fees are going to drive anything one way or the other, because quite frankly, a lot of cards at shows are selling for more than what they sell for on like for less, or there's not really any difference on the eBay fees anymore with shows. Like it's almost impossible to buy at 85% or even 90% a lot of times anymore. So you're not really getting a break at shows either.
Right. I have my next video I'm going to give. Well, the whole eBay PSA thing, I haven't paid much attention to it today. Actually, I was going to get you guys to kind of run it down quickly for me and the people in the comments that may not actually know the details of it.
Yeah, Rob, run it down. What's the deal?
But I feel like what Rob was talking, or Neo was talking about, was about the show prices. But I have a video. My next video is going to be kind of have me talking about why I think show prices are still really high, other than some people just are delusional about their pricing. But I do believe that the market is being propped up somewhat artificially right now, and I just have my thoughts and my reasons why.
Well, do tell.
House cards.
Yeah, can you give us a little bit of a preview?
Well, of course, it's going to be sort of related to something that I see in the casino. So
there you go.
In the casino, we have something that's called a false drop. Okay, now a false drop is, say, for instance, a player comes up to a table, they buy in for $100, and they play for 30 minutes, and they break even, and they cash out their chips, and they go to the cage, they get $100. Then they come back to that table with a $100 bill, and they buy back in for $100. That's what we call a false drop, because now that player technically is into the house for $200, but really they're not into the house for $200 because they cashed out $100 in chips. They're still even in money. So it looks like they're in $200 in cash, but essentially they bought in for $100, took $100 in chips to the cage, and came back with $100 that belonged to the house. So they're in $100 of their own money that they started with, but technically now it looks like they have a $200 buy-in. Are you kind of understanding that concept a little bit?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So we call that a false drop, because say we're tracking, if somebody does that 10 times, it appears to the house that they're in for $1,000.
It looks like new money, but it's not new money. Is that right?
But essentially, it's just $100 that they started with, and they've recycled it over and over again to make their buy-in look boosted. We call that false drop. There's something that I believe is very similar to false drop that is affecting sports cards. So that's what I'm going to leave it at.
All right. Wow.
Start with a re and end with a Packer.
Yeah.
I said, does it start with a re and end with a Packer?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I can run down the Golden stuff really quick. So basically, eBay traded Golden to eBay, or I'm sorry, collectors traded Golden Auction House to eBay in exchange for the eBay vault.
Hold on, let me see if I can, while you're telling this, I'm going to try to find the memes. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's basically the gist of it. So Golden now belongs to eBay. Mm-hmm. eBay vault now belongs to PSA. PSA is essentially pitching that eventually you'll be able to, the second your grades pop on PSA, you'll be able to immediately list it for buy it now or auction on eBay.
Okay. I didn't know if it was working like ComC, where you can buy a card and actually have it submitted for grading.
So they tease some stuff on that. There's no the full details won't be out probably till closer to the national, if I had to bet.
Yeah, I've been asked, because I've bought cards off ComC, and people have asked me in the comments, why do you get them home and then send them in for grading yourself as opposed to sending them through ComC? But I would never send in a card that I couldn't screen myself before sending it in, because I don't know if they actually look at the card and say, hey, you should or shouldn't send this card in when you buy it off ComC. So
Yeah, well, and if you're cleaning cards, then that doesn't really, you're not really into this idea, because I think the whole point that they're trying to get at is, hey, we can make this more convenient for you. You buy a card and you can very easily grade it, or you grade it, you can very easily list it. That's clearly what they're going to move towards, is ease of use. Just like with, ComC has rolled out, hey, you want to buy a card and grade it? Easy, you can do that. It's clear that eBay is going to have that option as well. Hold on, let me see if I can find this.
Even on your stuff, Steve, like you send in like what, 70, 90s random refractors. Like under this new system, you could still send them in yourself, but instead of having them shipped home, you could cherry pick like, okay, these, say you send in 50 cards and you're like, these 20 are eBay cards for sure. Under this new system, you could just tell PSA, don't even ship those back to me, just list them under my eBay account and sell them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like if you want to run an auction, you want to put them at bin, whatever. And then the other 30, maybe you want shipped home because you want to take them to the National or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like phase one. We'll see that first. Phase two, what they're teasing is you buy the raw card on eBay, and instead of shipping it home, you could just be like, hey, send this straight to PSA and grade it.
But see, I would need someone at eBay that I could trust to verify that.
But it wouldn't be going to eBay. It'd be going straight from the seller to PSA.
Okay. So the seller send it straight to PSA. Okay. Yeah, that just would not work. You would get too many bad grades back. I've had decent luck direct grading on ComC. ComC stuff is somewhat, but ComC stuff is somewhat screened. Like if there's an error, you'll see footnotes on ComC cards. I trust ComC raw cards more than I do eBay raw cards, to be honest. If I could buy all my raw cards off ComC, I would.
I think it's going to be more viable for ultra modern stuff, like the stuff that just released. Like 2024 Bowman comes out in a month. Like you can have a higher confidence that those cards are at least going to be semi-clean because they haven't been passed around yet. It's just people that are ripping wax and immediately putting it on eBay and sell it. I'm not talking about buying like a Brett Favre 90s gold refractor and sending it in.
Especially because you look at some of the, I've been buying Bowman used stuff on eBay, and you'll look at that and there are big accounts that grade and all that, but you can also see where there's just accounts where they obviously ripped the stuff or whatever, or they bought into breaks and they're just selling it off. So I think that there's opportunity there for those brand new cards like Neo's talking about. I'm sure you guys do it on the baseball side quite a bit.
Someone in chat asked about whose account does it go under when you go to sell it. It sells under yours. If you've ever looked on eBay, when someone sells something from the vault, it lists the seller's user ID, but it just has an extra logo that says that this card is being stored in the vault. So like essentially, it'll kind of be like what I would imagine how it's going to work is, how you can link your eBay account to ComC to pay for your auctions. It'll probably be something similar to that. You'll log into your PSA account and say, this is my eBay account that I want to link to it. And those two things will tie together. So then anything you list for sale on eBay will be listed under your, Neo Cards and Comics eBay account or whatever it is. So it's going to show you as a seller. You're not going to be able to bid on your own stuff. It's not going to be like ComC where it lists ComC as the seller. At least I don't think it will, because that's not how it works now.
Yeah.
So I think from a friction standpoint, it's good. But we'll see if they could actually execute it. eBay promised the same thing and they couldn't pull it off.
That's like
I have a little more faith in collectors.
Like not funny. Not Funny has a comment that says, it is true. Something as simple as fingerprints can hurt the grade on your card. So even if something's coming directly out of a pack, if it's not being handled correctly, it only takes one fingerprint to ruin your surface grade.
ComC has had some delays in the grading. Like if you go and say, okay, I want to send this to PSA, there are some delays in grading because typically the way I understand it is they batch them together, so I don't know how that would work. If you're, how is that going to work? Is it just going in like, okay, you buy a card on eBay and then that one card's going to PSA as like a one card order, that's going to them? Are you able to choose different levels? I mean, they can make it pretty robust, but it's all going to be in the details of that. You know, can you send
I would view it.
Or is it going to be a 5-day? You know, can you pick the different options?
Probably with ComC, I would definitely view it as like the way a group submitter would operate, where they do like a submission like maybe twice a month or once a month. Some of them, some of the smaller ones are like, hey, have your cards in for this month's submission. Some of them do it more than once a month. I guess it depends on how many cards they have coming in to get graded, but they build up the orders into bulk. So say for instance, right now you want to get the deal, the modern deal that they have going on for $16.99 a card, but you have to submit at least 10 cards, but you only have 5 cards yourself to submit. You know, you could lump your cards in with with somebody else who's grading to get to 10.
Well, and it's probably going to revolve around the vault too. So, okay. So let's say you're buying cards on eBay. I'll use Bowman U. I'm buying a lot of Bowman U cards right now. That's kind of my little, like, you know, my prospecting that I'm doing on the football side. I'm actually buying like players for next year, you know, so you've got like, of course, like the Drake Mays and the Bo Nixes and all those guys. I'm looking at QBs and receivers for next year's draft, but I'm buying a bunch of different stuff. Ideally though, you know, if I was going to go this route, let's say they had a button to grade with, then I would probably put those in the vault, however many I need to put, you know, 20, maybe I'm buying over a few weeks and I put 30 cards in the vault, and then I go and just do almost like a big sub that way, as opposed to just like
you can't put raw cards in the vault. They have to be graded.
I wonder if they change that though. If this is going to be something,
I don't think they're going to want to store. It's way easier to store in inventory graded cards than raw.
But how are they going to effectively? It would just seem like it would be if you were buying cards on eBay in bulk, and then you want to just go and ship those off to be graded. It would seem like there has to be a system, some sort of a system in place to be able to do that. Maybe not though. I mean, maybe you're right.
It might not be designed for bulk submissions. It might be designed for more one-off. It might be, you know, you're probably not going to get the $15 MLB special that you could get submitting yourself, but maybe it's $20 a card on a single card to send in.
I just got to assume that eventually they probably want to get to a place where everybody's not filling out paperwork, sending in, you know, I mean, think about it from a tech company. If you're a tech company, ideally you want to provide a solution to where someone doesn't have to fill out paperwork on 50 cards or whatever, you know, like, and ideally you're controlling the inventory. Look, these companies, you look at eBay, you look at PSA, they want to control that inventory from start to finish. I mean, that's really what Fanatics wants to do, but it's looking more like Fanatics is going to be the manufacturer and Collectors, the company, is going to be the rest of it, is what it kind of feels like as we kind of see this thing unfold. All right, we'll jump off of this. Stop sharing. We've looked at Nat Turner enough here. Okay. All right. Bazooka Tom. Yeah, absolutely. I did youth soccer. Very different than youth flag football. Very, very different. So with youth soccer, you kind of just send them out and it's like, hey, you guys control the game. With flag football, you've got to figure out plays to where everyone's touching the ball, and that can be very challenging. And then you've got to, you know, run clock management and everything, timeouts and all sorts of things. It was fun, but it was definitely more to it. Another episode of the Not Quite Centered Guys. What's going on?
White Tiger.
We got basketball in here. A lot of basketball talk. Trey is back, and the Knicks are going to the finals
with the New York emblem by his name. With the New York
It's
avatar.
wild to me that it's the T-Wolf. Like, it's funny to me how the T-Wolves are just kind of hanging around there. They're good. Like, historically, that's always been the team where everyone goes to start their career and then they move off, you know, move somewhere else. But the Wolves actually look pretty good.
They haven't had time to lose their best young player yet. David S. Who are the Giants going to draft? Giants are one of the wild cards in the draft right now. David S. Give us some insight.
Yeah, I mean, they picked Daniel Jones out of nowhere. I remember going back and it was like Daniel Jones. I think it was 5th overall. Daniel Jones aren't the Giants 5th overall again? I think they're going to go.
They're 6, right?
Are they 6? The Chargers.
I thought the Chargers were 5. So
Chargers
pick 6 cards. I have a question for pick 6 cards. Did he change his avatar? I'm just wondering if he changed his avatar to the Saints after they signed Derek Carr, or if he was a Saints fan and then changed his name to pick 6 cards after they signed. What came first, the avatar or the name? We all know it has to do with Derek Carr. Was I saying David Carr? I guess there's not much difference, but
no, I think you meant Jameis Winston. That's what you meant. Jameis Winston is the pick 6 guy, and now he's with Neo's Browns. So just hope that Deshaun stays healthy up there in Cleveland. It's Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston.
I needed to be healthy to justify that $400 Prism Silver Watson that I bought at Chantilly.
What a QB room in Cleveland. Jameis and Deshaun. Unbelievable.
And Tyler Huntley, I think, too. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Rob, are you jumping on the Ellie De La Cruz cards? I know he was hot, but what's the story with him lately? Is there anything with him?
His first week was kind of slow, and then he hit like 2 or 3 home runs over the weekend, including an inside the Parker. So
he's fast. I hear he's fast. Shows are stupid expensive. Okay, fair enough. Well, you know what? They're not expensive to get in. I guess that's probably the good part about shows. Entry is usually pretty cheap.
I mean, maybe the whole concept of going to one, like if you have to go and you have to stay and you have transportation costs, and I mean, if you're just going for a day to a local show, maybe not. I think it was $20 a person to get in just for Saturday at Chantilly.
If you bought early, it was cheaper. I pre-bought my ticket. It was quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah, but he could also be referring to dealer prices as well.
Wait, hold up. What happened to the media badge thing?
They never replied to the email.
Really?
Media badges.
Yeah.
I forwarded you the email. All right.
I know. I sent it and they never replied.
You know, every year I buy the VIP pass for the national giveaway. It's like always $200+ $250, $240, something like that. This year I sent an email to the national to see if they wanted to help me out with show passes. That email is like probably 10 days old, and I have gotten no response. So
I'm going to reach out to Ray.
I wasn't holding my breath anyway, because they probably get all those kinds of emails anyway, and they don't know who they can and who they can't trust. There's probably all kinds of people asking for free stuff. So I get it, but I thought it couldn't hurt to put it out there to see if they actually did some research into it and saw that it's something that I normally actually do. So
I'm going to reach out to Ray Schulte and tell him that Dr. Collectible told me to reach out to him directly. Directly. How many of you ordered Jeff's book? Jeff Wilson.
I did not know. Was this like news, or was he talked about this in the past?
He announced it a while ago. It just came out.
Okay. It just came out. He said
when's the book review, Dustin?
What's that?
When's the book review, Dustin?
I wrote the foreword. No, it's good.
No,
I'm waiting for the video of you like in a robe, a cigar, and a fireside chat, sitting down with the book in your hand to like do a live read or something.
I mean, I saw the Instagram post of him.
Yeah,
I saw the Instagram. So I saw the post of him. I saw the post of him with the book, and I was caught off guard. I actually had to check the date of which it was posted, because I thought it might have been posted on April 1st. I thought it was kind of like an April Fool's joke. But then I was like, no. Then I was like, no, wait a minute. This is actually a real book that he wrote, that he helped write or put together.
Look, I mean, the truth is that book will live on. That's exactly. It's like it's the For Dummies company that does all those books, like whatever plumbing for dummies and internet for dummies and all that. It's sports cards for dummies or whatever. That book will live on forever. So, like, whether you like or dislike Jeff or whatever, in 50 years, that book people will be like, who was Jeff Wilson? You know, it'll be like a whole thing. It'll probably be in some sort of a time capsule. Jeff Wilson was a card guru. So, hey, I haven't read it yet. Yeah, maybe I'll do a live.
His April Fool's video was funny, or was good. I mean, it was well shot. It was like an actual like make a movie.
Well, no, he just redid his old ones, right?
I thought he had the new. I thought one of them was new and the other ones were old.
Oh, I thought they were all old, and then he just like put them all back out and like he put them all together.
Okay, well then if he did that, I just didn't watch them in the past.
They are good from the past. Yeah, no, I thought like when he started the video,
the card like, put it in the sleeve. I knew that one was old, but I never watched the entire video. But the one with the with the wardrobe, the first one they were showing. I thought that was new, but maybe it wasn't.
No, yeah, that was last year, and they just kind of wrapped it all together.
Oh, so he didn't do a new one this year? He just took all of his old ones and put them together?
Yeah, I'm guessing they didn't have time with Cards HQ.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Bob Boozle says, breaking news, Sports Card Dad will write YouTube hosting for Dummies book.
I haven't gotten to that comment yet. I know everyone's shocked. It looks like I'm 17 minutes behind, so give me a minute. Give me a minute.
You are behind.
You're way behind.
You're back there.
There's a lot of comments in that 17 minutes.
Let's burn through. The dealers had it right this whole time. Their sticker prices will be the new comps, will be the same as eBay purchases after all the fees and taxes. I guess that's a good point. Take into account tax, fees, all that stuff. I get it.
The problem is that they're taking that into account and then multiplying it by 3.
Yeah. But here's the problem though. So, okay, you were at Chantilly and both of you were kind of like, meh. Was it a lot of like fairly common cards that you could easily kind of comp up and that's why it was fairly meh? Or did they have unique stuff, but you just weren't interested in unique stuff that like it had to be one or the other?
I mean, I'll speak to me because it's like Steve likes to say, like, it's whatever your individual experience is going to vary depending on what you see, and maybe one thing changes your whole outlook on everything. It was just underwhelming is probably the best way to sum up the entire show.
What
I guess a lot of dealers had said, I thought it was going to be bigger, having never been to that show before. I was expecting it to be like Philly size. And then dealers were telling me that it sounded like they cut some tables to make more room for autograph stuff. So the show floor itself was a little bit smaller. And then I got there about 3 to 4 hours after it started, probably 3 hours after the doors opened. And you could tell the tables were already picked through. Like there was tons of holes in showcases. And I knew probably about 5 or 6 dealers set up there. And every one of them, like it was not busy. Because it's a Friday. It's usually not that busy on a Friday preview. But every dealer said it was their best Friday that they've ever had in the first 2 hours. Like they were just selling stuff like crazy. Which was, to flipping Steve's point earlier, all the repackers got in early and wiped all the tables out. So anything like worth buying as like a casual flipper is wiped out before you even get in the door. And then there was a lot of baseball on the show floor. Yeah, and just like any show, like half the room was priced relatively fairly, and then the other half of the room was like that Watson card that I posted on social. So there was definitely stuff priced fairly, but it just wasn't stuff that I was looking for. So a lot of it is it's just like it's in a weird spot right now with, and the repackers are actually buying tables now. Like a dealer, but not actually setting up. They're just buying it for the dealer pass. Multiple vendors told me this, that they're just buying it for the dealer pass to be able to beat everyone else in the show to buy before anyone else gets in there. And then they're just using the tables as buying stations. Like they're just basically setting up buying stations instead of actually selling cards at a table. Like there was at least, I don't know, what do you think, Steve? Maybe like 6 just straight buying stations in there?
Yeah. So, and like you said, I got there on Saturday. I heard from someone that used the channel in the lobby before I even got in about people buying out inventory Friday. So I've heard that from not just from Neo noticing it, but I heard it from multiple people. Because I also heard it from On Campus Cards. When we were stopping by talking with him, that people are just coming in with backpacks full of money and buying out inventory, mainly for repackers. Now, that's something that's kind of what I'm going to talk about in my video. But I can't say that selling to repackers is a bad thing because then I would be a hypocrite because I've sold to repackers myself. But what I'm saying is that when we just had that comment about dealer comps being correct, it's hard to get dealers a percentage off of their sticker now because repackers pay so strong. So for the average buyer, if a card is stickered for $100, why are they going to sell it to me for 80 when they can sell it to a repacker for 90? Right. So repackers are kind of like propping card prices up to a certain extent. But the way I talked about it earlier, how the casino works, I think it's a little bit of a smoke and mirrors, because how many of those cards get recycled and how many people recycle the money that they're spending on the repack. If you buy one repack for $200 and you get $150 value out of it, you're probably not keeping the card that you get in the repack. That would be one thing that I would really like to know, and it's an impossible stat to figure out, is the percentage of cards that people actually keep out of their repacks, or do they just list the card, sell it, get money back, only to buy back into another repack? It kind of like works with like that with breaks. You could say also people buy into breaks. If they're not hitting a card that's for their personal collection, if they're hitting anything at all, a lot of time those cards are just recycled back into the market, and that person is getting money back in return, but they're not pumping new money in. It's the same money and the same cards recycled.
So that goes to your casino example.
So that's kind of like the casino reference, where it's the same money, just kind of in a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a way, and I'm talking to a lot of dealers, and the problem that dealers are having is they can't source inventory now, because no one walking the show floor with their case. Like normally it would be like, you walk up, you have your case, you're looking at a dealer's table, and the dealer would be like, "Hey, are you selling?" And normally you'd be like, "Yeah, sure, here's the stuff that I'm selling," or whatever. And now the repackers are buying out those people. So when they walk up to a dealer and the dealer's like, "Hey, are you selling?" They're like, "Sorry, man, I'm wiped out already.
Right.
Like, this guy already bought from me." So I've talked to a lot of dealers, and on one side, they like the repackers because they're, like Steve said, and we've heard, they're coming around and wiping out their table, like they're getting cash in hand. But then they're having an inventory shortage problem on the other side, where they can't source cards fast enough to refill their table. So it's kind of a weird, as much as we're like in the junk slab era, it's kind of like there's almost an inventory shortage right now.
That's because the repackers will buy out the dealers, and then they'll also buy out the people walking around that the dealers would typically get the buy off of.
They're like a black hole.
Who is buying all the repacks? Like here's my thing. Is like, I don't ever hear, and I know this is going to be kind of just like a narrow lane, but I don't hear YouTubers that are just like, I'm opening up this particular repack. Actually, Spurs Cards 21, you've done kind of in the chat. I know you've done repack kind of reviews and stuff, but it's not as if like on YouTube IG, you've got a lot of breakers and breaks is a big thing. You hear about that all the time, but who's opening up all the repacks? Like, where is it all going? Because I'm just confused by that. I mean, obviously they're selling, or they wouldn't be buying so much. So, but I'm lost on that. I don't know.
Yeah, and this isn't to say that I hate repackers or think repackers are bad or anything. There's a place for them. I'm just talking right now. A lot of the hobby prices are propped up by repackers. I just believe that that's the truth. I'm not saying that it's bad or that's good.
My pushback on that, though, Steve, would be, I don't necessarily fully disagree with you, but everyone runs off eBay comps, and repackers aren't buying off eBay. So are they actually propping up prices? Because like the world revolves around the eBay comp. So if the card's selling for $100 on eBay all day long, the repackers are buying it at 90 or 95. The card's still selling for 100 on eBay, but the repackers aren't driving up eBay prices, which is what the whole world revolves around, like it or not. Yeah, so it's kind of like I think they're artificially inflating maybe the show scene, but I don't think it's trickling out to the wider world because it's not impacting eBay comps. So like all those transactions aren't showing up in a Market Mover or Card Ladder or eBay sold or 130 point or whatever.
Yeah, but I've sold at last year's National, I sold at least 20 cards that I bought off eBay to repackers. My comps just weren't visible. They fell off after 3 months. And I was buying like autograph cards of like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and stuff like that. It's the type of stuff that repackers want, because if somebody buys into a $300 repack, if if they don't get their value, say they get $150 in value out of their repack, which you would be considered to be a loser in that repack. However, if you at least get a decent card, like an autograph of a Hall of Famer, it's somewhat satisfying as opposed to just getting a base prism, right? So and I mean, the way you relate it to eBay is I think a lot of people are buying off eBay to grade. At least me. I mean, I've bought over 150 cards in the last 2 months just off eBay to grade. They're not to go to sale yet.
Crazy, but going back to 2020, have you ever bought that? I don't remember ever you having that much inventory. Going back to as long as I've known you. That's a lot of inventory.
I've had lots of inventory, but this is probably the most that I've ever had at once. Because I was buying soccer when it got popular. Like prior to it getting popular, like Soccer Prism, I was buying that stuff in bulk and grading it, and soccer stickers and grading them. So it was a lot of lower end stuff, but it was stuff that I had a lot of. It was grading and doing well off of. But as far as eBay comps with repackers, I don't think it's your basic cards. Repackers don't buy just like your everyday basic card. It has to be a card that's somewhat special. And I don't think that a lot of those cards are even transacting on eBay. So say, for instance, a CJ Stroud Prism Silver PSA 10. What is that, like $1,000 card? You would
give or take.
Like $1,000 card. I don't know if a repacker is going to put that into a repack. And if they do, it's a repack. It's probably going to be the chase card of the repack, right? And those are comping every day at a certain market value. And they're going to be able to pay over comp they're able to pay so close to comp because their product, they have a set price on it and they know what they need to sell to make. So they know what they can spend because they have no risk. The people buying into the product are the ones assuming all the risk. Again, it's very casino-like. It's very casino-like, every aspect of it. And not just the gambling part of it, just the way that it operates. You can say it's a gamble because you're taking a risk reward, just like in a casino, but just the way that it operates as a whole.
Dustin, can you pull up Brad Beeman's comment at the very bottom? It kind of plays into this.
What's the timestamp?
Like literally the last comment in the chat.
Let me skip through 400. Let me go to 400 comments down. All right, Brad Beeman. One of my dealers said he won't accept a dime less than eBay comps on downtown or popular case hits because they're gold to the repackers, getting that sizzle in their product. What do we think? Was that the one, Rob, that you were talking about?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of plays into what Steve was saying. Like they want those premier cards that might be a little bit lower pop or harder to find than like a normal base silver prism. And Brad, for those that don't know, Brad's the promoter of the Ship Show.
And is downtown, is Kaboom downtown kind of like the hit, in the repack?
Yeah, those are the cases. I mean, I know what a Kaboom or downtown.
They're just really popular cards, but the thing is that also when repackers buy, they typically buy in bulk, so they get a bulk discount anyway. So it's not on an individual card basis. So they may pull 10 cards out of somebody's showcase and be willing to pay 100% or even more for one card, such as a downtown, because they know it's going to juice their product up. But they know on the back end, on the lower end stuff that they're buying to fill their packs up, they're actually getting really good deals on. So they can overpay here because they're going to pay less here. If you know what I mean.
And really, I mean, what this boils down to too, I'm looking at this high end over 1,000, mid 4 to 800, low end 50 to 250. I saw Steve, a few different repackers buying cards off of you, and you do a lot of kind of like on card Hall of Fame auto type stuff. I mean, if you think about kind of like look at new product nowadays, are you buying a $500, $1,000 hobby box for whatever random product and getting maybe $50 out of that? Or maybe you buy a $200, let's just say, throw out a round number, 200, 250, repack where you get 5 cards out of it, but you're getting Hall of Fame auto type stuff. And maybe the big hit is a Kaboom or something. I mean, to me, like the repackers are just taking advantage of what is such a lack of value on that new product side. Now, there's obviously, offers the opportunity for like BS cards and stupid things to go on where you're charging $500 for a repack and there's no hits in it or whatever. So you have to be careful. But I mean, that's why they exist and why they're so popular. Like the David Adams, the Hit Parade type stuff. It's clear. It's clear. There's no value in the buy $1,000 hobby box and you get absolutely hammered. We go on YouTube and watch it every time there's a new release. Go out, watch the flawless cases. So to watch everyone get slaughtered. Neo put out a video. Every time there's a new release, it's, oh, Prism's out. Time to watch everyone get killed. I mean, that's why this exists.
Yeah, and like I said about repacks, like if there's going to be good and bad with repacks, just like there is with not just in the hobby, with everything in life that you encounter. There's always going to be a negative part of it. So a lot of people, or some people, are against repackers because, you know, they say repacks can be a scam because they may not have the hits that they're claiming that they have in them. And that's fine. You can say that. You can find something in every walk of life and come up with that type of theory. And in some cases, that theory could be fact, but not in all cases. So I feel like a good repack product that you can trust does give people a place to spend their money the way that they want a hobby, because everybody wants to do it a different way. And to be fair, everybody has a right to do it however they want. You know, but especially when they can't buy wax, or like you said, the wax is just not giving them any type of satisfaction in return. The most fun part about wax is actually getting to open it yourself. But when you're buying through a breaker, you're not even getting to rip the packs. So it's not even a hands-on experience as much as it is as you watching somebody else open what you just paid for. For me, some people might love buying into breaks and having somebody break their product for them. But so I see, you know, that part of repacks being something that people would really like. I also see that, you know, as long, you know, it's keeping the hobby, I don't want to say alive, but it's keeping money flowing through the hobby. That's a good thing. If you're a seller, it's great, because if you have a card that you can't move or get out from under, you always have somebody that you can turn to sell your card to, because really they're not super picky on what they buy because they need inventory so much. But if you are a buyer trying to get deals, trying to buy cards, that can be where the repackers kind of, you know, are putting up a roadblock on you, because you can't compete to buy like repackers are buying. Now, if you're buying for your personal collection, it doesn't matter. You go out and you spend on a card whatever you feel like it's worth, you know, whether that's over comp or not. People value things differently when it goes into their PC, because it might mean more to you than it does to somebody else, and you don't care about a market comp on it. But when you're buying to flip, it just makes it more challenging. For me, I do this part-time, so it's not super bad for me. And, you know, typically the stuff that I've been buying lately isn't the type of stuff that repackers buy. I'm buying like 90s and 2000s refractors and things like that. Back to Chantilly, where this all started, there just wasn't that type of stuff out in the showcases. So for me to say that Chantilly was bad from an inventory standpoint, personally, it was for me, because they didn't have the type of stuff I was looking for. If I was going there to shop for my PC, I would have probably found some nice items. But there wasn't a lot of raw cards. Everything is slabbed. And I find that in a lot of these bigger regional shows, not your local shows, in your regional shows, people have limited space, and it's showcase space. And in your showcases, you are going to have your better cards, your graded cards, your higher price cards, hence the term showcase, right? You're not going to be showcasing your bargain box cards. So, you know, for me, going to the regional shows has been a little underwhelming from a purchasing standpoint. But going to a local show that may be set up in your high school gymnasium or at a fire hall or something, that's where sometimes you can then find some more of those lower end cards that are more of a, you know, what you're looking for at a bargain or a discount. So Chantilly was a great show to socialize. I had fun. I was only there for a couple hours. I got to drop off cards for PSA, so I saved my shipping. I just dropped off an order. I talked to a couple people. And so the show was good as a whole. I just didn't make any purchases. I got a train coming through.
Yeah, going to a show is not necessarily all about transactions. Like, there is definitely the social aspect of it too. Like, yeah, I mean, even though I didn't buy or sell a single card other than a Crazy Daisy sticker, like, I still had an enjoyable weekend.
Well, and I think that's a part of card shows and just I would say the hobby in general, where of course, there is a lot of emphasis put on, and I guess an assumption too, that if you're a dealer at a show, then you need to make huge money, to continue on. And I can just tell you, for my local Raleigh show here, it's not very expensive to have a table. It's not. I mean, we're not talking about, if you're local here or in the general area and it's $50 to $100 for a table, I mean, that's just a fun weekend maybe for you to hang out and talk cards and hang out with people. That's no different than spending $50, $100 at the movie theater. I mean, so I think that it'd be one thing if shows. Now, I know if you go to Dallas, I'm sure Chantilly, Philly, some of these bigger shows, national, obviously, but most local shows, regional shows, you're not spending massive money to go set up there necessarily. So I think people just enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a good social aspect of it, the networking aspect of it, and it's a whole different skew for us as content creators as well, because there's just something about going to a show and getting the vibe. So you could actually, intelligently speak firsthand about what you saw or heard versus taking a secondhand report. So there's that aspect of it as well. But that's an extremely niche case for us. So, but we're coming off Chantilly like this, and this definitely seems to be more and more of a trend at these bigger shows. What do we think this is going to trickle down or up, I guess, to the national? Is the national going to be or is it just too big and too much inventory for the repackers to put a dent in something like that?
National's going to be dead. We're going to be the only ones there. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. But it does you have to kind of wonder though. And seriously, if you go back to the 90s, I mean, if you look at kind of big boom time when we were kids, and obviously I never went to a national when I was a kid. I wasn't that big into it, but you're looking at 87 to 94, and then it died off with the baseball strike. And I'm not saying that this will die off, but I guess I just wonder, can it keep this pace? I mean, the pace of, just all of because there's still massive interest. There's still people that are getting into it. I understand there's people that are getting out and that sort of thing, but there is still massive liquidity and massive interest in the market today. And I guess that's just something I just wonder, does that just continue on forever now that we have big companies that are really look, if you go back in 1990, there wasn't a Fanatics and an eBay and a Collectors that were helping to kind of invest into and, market and all that stuff. It was much smaller companies. So maybe it just keeps on going, but I don't know. It's something I think about.
This comment that you have pulled up, the comment that you have pulled up right now, I mean,
I think this is an interesting one.
I mean, there's lots of this is going to be very circumstantial to the individual, right? Not everyone, where it says everyone eventually ends up thinking one quality AAA collectible is better than hundreds, because I think you're talking from an investment standpoint here. From a collector standpoint, collectors kind of want to collect as much as they can of their favorite card or their favorite team or their favorite player or whatever, and they're not collecting from an investment standpoint. Yeah, having quality AAA collectibles, what makes something a AAA collectible over any other? The individual buying it, right? If somebody may not, or the value, the secondary market value.
Well, forget about value for a second. Let's just okay. So let's say you're a Willie Mays collector, and you've got because I'm a Drew Brees collector, so I've got a bunch of Drew Brees stuff. I kind of like this question because I think even if you are, the challenge with being a collector is that you're kind of a little bit of a hoarder, and that's how I am too with Brees stuff. I probably have, if I take all my Brees stuff and I put it all together, I could get one really nice Brees card. And so I think in the spirit of this question, I think that, but that's kind of like the challenge though, is collectors tend to be hoarders because you're collecting, volume. But if you ask the average collector, hey, if you moved out of these 50 Willie Mays cards and you got into a really nice Willie Mays 52 tops or a Willie Mays rookie, would you do it? That's kind of and that answer might change over time too. That answer might be no today. And then in 5 years, it might be yes. And not necessarily because of money, but just because you're like, man, I would love to have that card, but I can never really get into it because I'm buying kind of the smaller stuff.
Yeah. I could use a person, I could probably sell a large portion of my X-Men collection and easily afford an X-Men #1, but I don't know that I would do that.
Yeah.
I would rather have as a collector, I would rather have the collection than the collectible.
I'm in the same. I totally get it,
and that's what I was saying. So that's what I mean. If you're a collector by definition, more, like you said, you could be somewhat of a hoarder. You're going to want more. And when you're talking about Willie Mays cards and stuff, people like to collect the run. How many times you hear people say, "Oh, I'm collecting the run of Willie Mays." I don't know if anybody would give up their entire run for one.
But if a collector told me, "Hey, I'm going to give up all of my collection to get into a really nice, maybe it's 52 tops or it's one Willie Mays card," I wouldn't blame them one bit. That might be like.
But in a collector's eyes, what makes that card so great? Collectors collect stuff because of the look. I love the way this one looks. I'm collecting 54 tops because I love the design. All right, that's like a collector's mindset.
What if it's more of a goal? Like, because you have different collectible goals. You mentioned runs, so you mentioned like, okay, we're trying to get every Mays card or every Jackie Robinson card. He's got 9 cards or something. He's got very few cards. But maybe part of that collectible goal was, hey, look, like the 48 Leaf in like mid-grade or something, that was never in the cards because I can't afford it. But maybe over time, you've gotten into all the other Jackie cards, and now you can move all your Jackie cards into that one card. And I understand what you're saying. Like, I get it. There's a volume element to it. But I also just understand too, like, hey, look, I'm collecting that player. If you're a player collector, if you're collecting that player and you want just the best card at some point, because I feel like it's kind of like it's a journey. All this stuff is a journey too. And it depends. You might be someone that's always collected Jackie and then just be like, you know what? I just want to get into the best one. Yeah. I want to get into like the tippity top or whatever that I can get. And that makes sense too.
But I'm saying, what would cause somebody to want to do that? Value? Or just
I don't know.
I just don't want to have, or I just don't want a collection anymore.
Well, what if you have $10,000 of Jackie cards and just like 50 Jackie cards, but then you can move into one Jackie card that's $10,000.
Okay, so I guess my question is again, what makes it a AAA collectible?
He puts more like on the investment side of things, on like a stored value,
like a value. So when you're separating stuff, from one tier to the next based on value, that's kind of more of looking at it from an investor standpoint than a collector standpoint.
But if you're looking at Jackie cards, using that example, they're all of value. So if you could argue that they're all AAAs, that you're kind of consolidating into a larger AAA. Now, if you're talking about Porzingis or something, then maybe we're having a different conversation. This is a general question. So Knights of Old, hopefully this has been a good kind of, we just kind of like had a conversation building off of a general question, but the player obviously matters tremendously too with this question.
I still think this all stems back to a AAA collectible is considered a AAA collectible because it has more value on the secondary market or higher liquidity or what have you. I don't think it has to do with this is the card that people like because this is the way that it looks, or because this is who they collect. I don't collect Willie Mays, right? I bought a Willie Mays rookie. You were with me. I bought it as an investment, right? I didn't buy it because I collect Willie Mays. So,
well, and there's so much nuance to this question. I mean, maybe what Knights of Old is referring to is one quality AAA collectible is the Mays, and the triple Bs are the modern players, whoever that is, the people that are still playing. We don't have very much context, but look, when we get into it, if anyone is spending any significant amount of money on any player, I would argue that that's, you care about the financial piece, whether that's you might consider a modern card a quality AAA collectible.
Right. And everybody, like I think Bazooka Tom said, everybody wants their collection to have some monetary value to it because you value it yourself, but you do want it to have some sort of, hey, if I'm in a pinch and I need some money, hey, I can always get rid of this. But so when I think of this and I think of somebody along the super collector line, I think of like Mangini. And Mangini has cards of everybody from everything, from like every sport, it seems like. I see him posting something different on Instagram every day. It could be a 1990 junk wax Don Russ card. That's not even a rookie of somebody. and I use the term that he doesn't like, but so when you're talking about different levels of collecting, how much
to say things that Mangini won't like. So go ahead.
Right? No, I get that. That's not what. That's what. Yeah, I don't care. I'm just saying that. But could you see someone like him being like, okay, I can have my entire collection, or I can have this for my entire collection because it's worth what my entire collection combined is worth?
So I know the one card, if we're talking about Mangini in particular, that he wants is the Honus Wagner T206. I don't think that he would trade all of his stuff for that card, but I think that he would think on it. So, I mean, I guess my point is that that's kind of like a big, obviously like goal card for him, if I remember correctly. But you're right. I don't think he's necessarily like, oh, I'm looking to consolidate into other things. He's not. However, I know that he wants that particular card, but he's not going to drop $1 million on it or whatever.
Right.
If someone walked up to him and said, hey, if you hand me this, here's the card that you've been wanting, but I want the rest, I'm sure he would probably think on it. That's all I'm saying. But I don't think it's because necessarily of value. It's more of like a collecting goal over time for him. I don't think it's necessarily because he's looking at like, okay, this value versus that value.
Right. But if the Honus Wagner card wasn't like I don't know what comes first, the value or the card. Like we all know the card is super valuable, right? But if the card wasn't super valuable, would people care about it as much as they do? Say it was a $500 card. Would people be chasing it because of its rarity or because of the story behind it? Or would they lose interest because, oh, that's a $500 card? Those $500 cards are all over the place.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of rare stuff that's not worth millions of dollars like that Wagner, so yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, my Stranger Things cards are more rare than that stupid Wagner, but people won't pay up for those Stranger Things cards.
Would you trade would you trade all of your Stranger Things cards for one Stranger Things card? Is there one out there that you would be like, man, I would just give up all the ones that I have just for this one?
The one of
like
one.
A one of one?
Yep. The one of one gold. The Millie Bobby Brown auto would probably be, or the Hopper, which is on eBay right now. The Hopper is one that I would consider. I know the seller though. I know the seller.
No,
I'm just kind of
have enough.
I'm waiting for
enough. Do you have enough value in yours that would be possible, or are all of yours added up still not worth what that one is?
No, I have enough. For sure. But the problem with that though is there's no history behind kind of like, I don't know if there's any public sales of a one of one for it. So it's like, what am I comparing it against? It's like, it's literally like collectibles are, oh, it's worth what someone will pay for it. Well, I mean, I've got a number in mind, but I'm not paying some stupid amount of money for it either. So
for me, and my personal collection is very small. The players that I collect have lots and lots of cards, so a card has to really be special for me to want it. But when I look at a card as necessarily being special, I don't say it's special because of how much it's worth. Now, typically, it just kind of goes hand in hand. But for me, Dan Marino is one person that I want to have one or two really, really good cards in my collection of. But I have sold more valuable from a monetary standpoint Dan Marino cards that I didn't want as part of my collection because they were just more valuable. They weren't as special. You know what I mean?
But did that evolve over time?
I do have.
But question on that though, Steve, like, did that change for you over time? Meaning like when you got it, were you kind of like, I love it, all about it. I could hold this. And then kind of, a couple years later, a few years later, as you just kind of like, as time goes on, you're like, you know what, there's maybe something else I want differently, or did it change for you?
But the funny thing is that, so the Dan Marino, Peyton Manning dual auto that I got in Dallas, the first show coming out of
I remember
the first show coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I got that card. That was my that's the Dan Marino card that I hold in my collection. It's Peyton Manning's rookie. Dan Marino signed on it also. They're both my favorite two quarterbacks. So that card to me was special. Is it Peyton Manning or Dan Marino's best cards? No, it's not. Have I owned better cards of both of those guys from a monetary standpoint? Yes, I have. Have I sold more expensive cards from a monetary standpoint of those players? Yes, I have. I acquired the 1-of-1 plate jersey auto of Marino out of National Treasures at Atlanta Culture Collision, the first one we did. And I brought that card into my collection, and I said, okay, now I have this. I have my co-signers. Now I have this 1-of-1 auto plate patch. Within a year, I was ready to get rid of the auto plate patch. I originally thought that was, oh man, this is my all-time Dan Marino card. It's a 1-of-1. It's an auto. It's worth more money. I can get more money for it on the secondary market than I can the other one. So it's worth more. But when it came time to decide which one I wanted to keep for my collection, I still went with the co-signers that I had gotten, like a year and a half to 2 years before I had acquired the 1-of-1. So originally getting the 1-of-1 was going to be my upgrade. But then as I got it into my collection, I was like, this card, I actually like the other card better. And it had a lot more story to it. The 1-of-1 card just kind of fell into my lap. A guy walked up with it when I was set up as a vendor and had it in his cards, and I bought it off of him. I wasn't expecting it, but I hunted down the other one. I'd actually seen it on eBay and ended up finding it at Dallas from the same eBay seller that I couldn't make a deal with on eBay, and just happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye in a case full of baseball cards. And it just lined up, so it has more story. It has more, I worked harder to get it, even though it was less money. So to me, I have more of an attachment to it.
Boozle. Sorry, I just can't help it. Neo, are the Cavs winning, or where are we at? I haven't heard from you in a while.
They were good.
All right. How are they doing?
They've been on the struggle bus a little bit lately. They'll still be like a top 5 seed.
Are they going to get in the playoffs?
Yeah, I just said they'll be a top seed, one of the top seeds in the East.
Okay. Well, there you go. Do you still have your red prisms?
I do.
I always just rag on you about the Cavs red prisms. But hey, I can't talk. I've got the Saints gold prisms and that sort of stuff. So I totally get it.
That's a different argument. Knights of Old said he'd rather have $100 bill than 10,000 pennies, but that's not the same thing, because all 10,000 pennies are the same.
Unless they're rare pennies.
Well, I'm just saying, all 10,000 pennies is 10,000 pennies. 10,000 cards can all be different.
Oh, Bush Leaguers is reporting on it looks like weight loss. Neo, there you go.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll take it.
All right. Hey, he'll take it.
I got a haircut last week.
There it is. That's slimming. I need to get a haircut myself. Caitlin Clark about to take over the WNBA. I thought it was amazing. Got kind of watching the back and forth about ratings and, the Iowa South Carolina championship game. I'm on the bandwagon boat of the ratings are not going to be as good without Caitlin Clark next year. And there's people that do not agree with me, and that hurts their feelings. But I hate to say it. I understand there's a lot of good young talent as far as basketball players go. I totally understand that, respect it. But there's something it's just the range. And look, I had not watched Caitlin Clark, so I'm not like a Caitlin Clark, whatever. I'm a bandwagoner. I literally just found out about her game like 3 weeks ago. But it's the way, look, she can hit threes from different angles. That's the thing that's different about Caitlin Clark. Her court vision, and also she can hit. It's not as if she has to get a perfect look and she hits her three. It's like Steph Curry stuff, where she's off balance and she's not open and that sort of thing. That's what makes her different. So, yeah, I'm going to be on the bandwagon of next year. There's going to be obviously the college, March Madness for females, and the ratings will be half what they are this year. That's you can put me on record for that.
Is the wrap up nights just to wrap up nights of the old?
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I just want to wrap up Nights of the Old real quick, because we spent a lot of time on his comment, and he asked if he's referring to me making the right choice. Yes,
I'm going to go to the restaurant because I've got a 5-year-old bladder. But go ahead. I'll be right back.
5-year-old bladder.
Wow. When did Brad take back?
I thought as you got older, the bladder got worse. But yeah, I made the right choice. In fact, that's not only my favorite Marino card that I have. It's probably my favorite card that I own that I like. It's not the most valuable, but it's sometimes I get out like my top 10 cards of my personal collection, and I'll have my own little March Madness bracket. And I'm like, okay, which one is my favorite? And I move them all to the middle, and I get to a finals. And then I'm like, oh, this one. And last time I did it, the Dan Marino card was a repeat or a three-peat champion. I can't quite remember.
I mean, sometimes you chase, we've all been there. You chase a card that you think you really want, and then you get it, and maybe you did really want it, but then after a while, you're just kind of like, all right, like this card was in my life for the last year. It sat on my desk. I carried it around. I showed it off. And now, it's time for it to move on for something different.
And look, you laugh, but does anybody in the comments do that? You guys ever set up your best cards or your favorite cards in your collection and then like narrow them down to see which one actually would win your favorite card in your collection? Steve Splendid, do you do that with all your Kevin Durant cards? You say, I got all these Durants, but I'm going to set them up in brackets and see which one wins the final.
He'd have one side all those KD cards, and on the other side he'd have all those Joker cards. Because he loves the Joker too. He loves himself some Jokic. Should give your best card a rose like The Bachelor.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo.
You should do that for a video the next time you do it. And at the end, walk out, have the card sitting on the counter, and then walk out with a rose.
Yeah, right.
That'd be some high quality content there.
Nobody ever does that, man. Wow.
Steve, you've been putting a lot of effort into these videos. I've been watching your videos, and I'm like, he's got like 27 cutscenes. Like, I need to really step up my game.
I don't know if they're all cut. I mean, I don't plan them.
You're like in your living room, then you're on the beach, then you're at the card show, then you're at the restaurant, then you're playing arcade. I'm like, where the hell is, like, how did this guy do this?
Yeah, but you know what I do is I just go out and, like, when I'm doing random stuff, whether I'm driving or walking on the beach or doing whatever, I will shoot like a little bit of clip. And I don't know what I'm going to use it for or where it's going to go. Then I'll sit down and I'll basically shoot the subject matter of my video. And then as I'm saying stuff, if I'm like, oh, that would interject there pretty nicely, then I'll add it in. You know what I mean? Like I'll shoot the getting cards in the mail. I'm like, okay, I picked this up, and that snippet will just be saved to the side. And then when I'm doing my regular subject matter, if I start talking about cards or something, then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to edit in a card right now. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. I don't plan it out ahead of time and say, okay, this is how it's all going to line up.
Is there like a land of lost clips? Like, there's a bunch of clips laying around that just never got used?
Oh, all of the flubs.
When does that video come out?
I don't super edit, but I mean, like sometimes, like if I'm like just talking and I'm like like a bloopers take.
Yeah, we need like once a month. You should just post like all the cuts.
Today I was driving home from physical therapy and I was trying to talk about Veriswap, and I swear I kept trying to say the same thing, and like I like messed it up like 4 times, but not just messed it up to where I could just continue to go. I mean, I got like tongue tied. I was like, and I was like, damn, what the hell? I can't even talk today because I don't edit out little flubs, but like sometimes there's.
I should keep mine in because when I screw up and I edit it, sometimes I'll be like, damn it, can't talk today, damn it. I should just keep that in.
Yeah, just like if I'm grading cards, I'll set the camera up, I'll turn it on for like 5 minutes. Now I'll grade, it might take me 30 minutes to prep some cards, but I'll get like 5 minutes of me like grading cards, and then I'll be like, okay, maybe some of this will get interjected into a video, maybe it won't. It just all depends on how the main part of the video is going.
How do we feel? I feel like this is valid from Pete. How do we feel about Ohtani being the biggest star in Major League Baseball and a very large story being swept under the rug like the JFK assassination? Neo, you go first.
His translator pleaded guilty.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that's been the news.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah, he's
going down. He's going down.
Yeah, he probably got paid another $4.5 million to take the fall.
His offshore account is loaded.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Ohtani bought him an island in Japan to go live on.
Oh no, Juju Watson's fantastic. I just don't think. I mean, look, she's great. I just don't think it's going to matter. And she's a freshman, so we'll see. But you're right. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll be wrong. Steve Splenda. Women's basketball ratings will plummet when Clark retires and becomes my wife. I can't wait to see you, Steve, in the background of those Sorry, what am I hitting this? I'm only 6 minutes behind. I can't wait to see Steve in the background of those press conferences where she's talking and Steve's in the back like, hey!
Not me, Splenda. That's Splenda.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not talking about flipping Steve. I'm talking about Splenda here in the chat.
Splenda's going to be at the National. I'm going to get to meet him.
Oh, good.
You're not missing much.
Well,
I meet Splenda all the time.
Yeah, you guys hang out. So, yeah. All right, cool.
We shared Amish buggy rides together.
Me, Steve, and where are we staying, Steve? Should we talk about this?
Oh, we got an Airbnb in West Cleveland?
Yeah, we were like, Rob, where should we stay? And he's like, I don't know. We're like, don't you friggin' live there? He's like,
well, I kept sending him Airbnbs, and he was like, no, this is too far east. This is too far east.
He's like,
that's not true. He's like, Steve and I had like a 3-day text conversation about
Hey, look, I swear, this is what happened. This is what happened. All right. So I'm like, all the way back to the beginning of the year, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to the National, right? We all knew that. Ham was responsible for finding our accommodations. Dustin was supposed to help, I guess. But anyway, it was not my responsibility because I did not even know if I was going to be able to go. So I wouldn't be able to get an Airbnb in my name, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, Ham, I'm like, book the accommodations as if I'm going to be there and I'll pay for it. But if I can't be there, I just won't be there, but I'll still pay for it, right? So time goes by. Time keeps on ticking. Isn't that what Steve Miller Band says? But
I keep asking every single week, do you guys book anything yet?
Right.
Do you guys book anything yet?
So I'm texting them and I'm like, man, you guys going to book something? Ham's like, oh, I'm looking up some Airbnbs, but and then a week later, he's like, I think we're going to have to go to hotel route. I'm like, well, what happened to the Airbnbs? I don't know. I just don't think there's any. I'm like, are they all sold out? So then I'm
they're all haunted.
So I'm like, okay, I got cleared to go to the National from work. So I'm like, all right. I'm going to go on Airbnb and look. And boom, it was hard to pick. There were so many, it was hard to pick.
So Ham was lying.
I was like, why? I was like, if I was still not unsure about my national status, these guys would still not have accommodations.
Which, by the way, Michael Ham is the best guy to have at the show, and Steve would agree with me. I mean, he's the absolute best. He's like your best buddy.
I wouldn't know how to survive Atlanta without Michael Ham.
But don't mess up his lobster macaroni and cheese.
Don't mess up the macaroni and cheese. It's not even the lobster.
This guy, literally, we were waiting 45 minutes. They were all like backed up at this restaurant. And I thought that Ham was going to just be like, hey, you know what? No worries. You know, just take it off the bill. Just take it off the bill. Let's pay out. We'll move on. No, Ham was like, I want that lobster macaroni. So we waited another, I don't know, half an hour.
I don't even think it was lobster. I think it was just regular. Like maybe
or
it was lobster. I would understand it a little bit.
Was like,
they brought the big.
Just eat the friggin' thing that they brought you. Just eat it. Anyway.
But yeah, so we do have the Airbnb now, but it's because I found one and texted it to them and said, look, this is the one we need to get, or texted it to Ham. And I feel like if I didn't take the initiative to finally find the place we were going to have, it would still be in limbo. I've since then already booked the hotel for the national giveaway winner. So that's already locked up for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights of the national for whoever wins the contest. And I got that at a nice neighborhood, not too far from the show, actually. Neo, remember was it North Oldham or something like that?
North
Homestead. North Homestead. So North Homestead is where the suite is going to be. It's a suite. It's got a kitchen and living area and a bedroom and all that for whoever wins the national giveaway. So I've already booked someone else's accommodations, but I have to get my airline ticket. That's what I still need to book.
We just have to hope that the winner is not really annoying. We've been really fortunate. Last year we had Mark, and Mark was awesome. Mark's like the best ever.
Oh, Mark was goated, man. Mark was straight goated last year.
If Mark wins, I hope Mark wins back to back. I know we don't really do that.
Can't do back to back.
And the year before that, we had Charles.
Yeah, but
I wish Charles would win just so we could see him again. He's been out of the game.
He just needs to come. But Charles is like all not even about sports cards. He was just coming for the party in the casino.
Yeah, Charles was great to hang out with the year before. And then the guy the year before that was cool too. I forget who it was.
We've been lucky. Steve's had good winners.
Yeah, Bob Boozle, I hope you love Super 8 Hotel because you're going to win and you're going to have to stay there with your wife.
God, we're due though for a winner that's going to complain about stuff. Like, is this what you booked for me? Dude,
I won this contest on YouTube and I got scammed.
I got scammed in this giveaway. Yeah, we're due up for some idiot to win, Steve. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I don't have any idiot viewers.
Well, yeah, but all three of us are going to be on the stream. So,
yeah, there might be somebody that doesn't like you.
I've got plenty. Hey, I've got plenty of psychos out there.
Where's Dustin? Right. I came for Dustin. Where's he at?
Yeah, I might have to not log in for that live stream.
Hey, why don't you come on? You all want to come back to the Airbnb and have some drinks?
Break some prison Monopoly.
Oh my God. Man. Oh my God. Yeah, on a lighter note, Hobby Champs can't wait to grade his Crazy Daisy Color Blast.
There you go, Crazy Daisy. So, these are sold out, by the way.
We haven't talked about that. So did you find it? Are those like legit cards? I mean, can we do autos and different things? What can we do?
This is a sticker because I couldn't get the trading cards printed out yet.
Daisy, do you like the font print?
So this is like you could just put on your graded card case, or it's just a sticker. You can keep it as a sticker like this if you want to, pretend it's a soccer card. Okay, so it's a sticker, but
it's actually worth more than a soccer.
You can keep it like this, or you can stick it, whatever you want to do. You can stick it, brother. But the downtowns are coming in, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those yet. The downtown ones are a little bit bigger. They're holographic. I paid more money for those, and those are pretty neat. Those are going to be in next week, I think. But these are gone. I had 100 of these made, and I kept back like 10 for personal use.
You sold 90?
Yeah, fast.
You sold 90 of those?
I sold 91.
How much are they?
Well, they were just a minimum $4 donation. So I got a bunch of $4s, but I also got some hefty donations from people for them too.
Oh my God. I might have to make cards for donations as well. And then I can get on.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, dude, I'll be on a sports card radio. I'll be on a
rattle. You're going to see my money. You're going to see me transfer it all, baby. But anyway, I kept 10 back for personal use. Like if I wanted to keep one, I held one back for Michael Ham because Michael Ham actually did the design. So Michael Ham asked me to save him 2. So I kept 10 back for personal use. And then today I got an Instagram message of somebody asking if I had any left. And I was like, I kept 10 back for personal use, but if you really want one, I'll come off another one of them. And so this one is going in the mail tomorrow for that person. And so basically I have 9, and 2 of those go to Michael Ham. So I have 7 to just kind of like use for myself. My daughter might want one, something like that.
So you got,
I'm telling you, if I would have put Flipping Steve and my face on this, I would not have sold any.
So you made $7,000 on these stickers?
No.
Do I have that math right?
No, and the thing is that my when I totaled up my shipping costs and my sticker cost and my card savers, sleeves, envelopes, all 9 yards, it came out to about $2 in expenses for me. So I did the $4 donation to see if I could raise $200 for the national giveaway. But people were being like so generous with their donations that I'm not going to take out my cost. So the $200 that I put in plus the $200 that I was going to get for the 100 stickers that I sold is already a guarantee. Like I'm not going to remove out my cost, which I was originally going to do, because I had put $200 into it, and I'm not making any money off the proceeds. All the proceeds is going towards the giveaway. So, but I just decided, I was like, man, these people are so awesome the way that they're like donating and wanting to give more than the $4 that I'm just going to keep my $200 in there. So it was a nice little fundraiser
I'm going to make up a story about my dog needs surgery and I need donations for I'm gonna have spritz color blasts.
I can't wait to see you. AIH dance, sports car radio, rattle.
Oh my God. I'm gonna do it just for the publicity. This sounds incredible.
But I just did the downtown stickers, but I ordered less of those. I can't remember if I did 40 or 50. because at least 10 of those are already spoken for. I have something I'm going to do with them. People just don't know yet. So I got to automatically shave like 10 to 15 off of how many I had printed. So I either have 25 left or I have like 35 left once I do what I'm going to do with the extra, well, not the extras, but, and I haven't decided if I'm even going to use those as fundraiser or what I'm going to do with them. I just wanted to have them made because Michael Ham did the design for me, and they look pretty cool. So
when's the giveaway process going to start?
We'll have to have the giveaway done a month before the national. I like to give the winner a month, to plan in case they need to get, to get off work and to figure out transportation. Now, because the money that I raise on the side can either be given to them for transportation costs, like an airline ticket, or it can be, if they get themselves there, they just get the money handed to them to spend. Like ask Mark Sipe, I counted out $500 for him last year on the spot when he got there because he drove. So he drove and didn't need an airline ticket. So when he got there, I was like, here you go, $500 to go buy what you want to buy.
Is it going to be awkward if I bring my wife to the Airbnb, guys?
Well, I don't know why you're asking him.
So I don't care.
Yeah, Boozle's talking about the indoor swing. So, yeah, I'm actually excited about this because we're not going to be locked in necessarily to a hotel. We actually can buy groceries and stuff. Like we can we can cook food and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go buy groceries when I get there and fill the fridge up with some stuff.
Oh, Sea Blaz would be a trip. But you're right. That might get old after
5 minutes.
24 hours. 24 hours.
In 24 hours, that's a joke. That's why he's got the laughing emoji at the end. Like, that's something that we wouldn't want.
John Sports Reckoning, and we should remind everybody, we've got almost 200 people in the chat. We had over 200 people, and we might gain some, we might lose some with this statement, but Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mom. All right. There you have it.
Smokey's the dad, Maury Povich style. You are the father.
You are the father. We're going to have repacks. The upside down repacks are going to be at the Airbnb. Come hang out. Yeah. Daisy pulling a hammy or getting a DUI. There's all sorts of risks.
So see, there's going to be questions in the trivia for the national giveaway, like we always do, that have already been, some of the content has already been out. So I'm going to be asking some questions from, some of the content that's been out, but the questions are going to be a lot easier this year because last year there was some real stumpers. But I've put out so many videos this year, and I've tried to make stuff. I've tried to be repetitive in things that I say, as opposed to just saying it in one video and then putting out a video a week later and not even talking about it. So, I say the 302 in the beginning of every video. That might be the answer to a question, and everybody should know it because I've said it in every single video, right? So again, there's been more of a strategy to it this year. I've kind of been planting the seeds and stuff throughout my videos and repeating stuff that people, even if they missed a video, they should have picked it up somewhere else.
I think this is a great idea.
What do you do with your shipping supplies? I'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
But if one of the questions isn't what you do with your shipping supplies, I'll be disappointed.
Did you guys see that Frankenstein slab I got in the mail the other day?
Yes, that was hilarious.
You didn't see it, did you, Dustin? See, you see,
Dustin doesn't even
watch my videos. Anyway, somebody sent me a slab.
I mean a card. I fast forward to Daisy clips, and then as soon as Daisy's done, I just keep on pressing forward.
So I got a card, and it was in a top loader. And usually you put it between two pieces of cardboard, you make a sandwich and you tape it up. Well, they put it between the front piece was a plastic piece of a BGS slab that they had cracked, and the back piece was a CSG slab that they had cracked. And they had put those around the card and taped it together. So I had the front portion of a BGS slab and the back portion of a CSG slab, and my card in the top loader in the middle. And it was taped together with not painter's tape, the tape that's really hard to get off, like packaging tape, like you would use on the outside of an envelope. And it's still stuck together, actually. I haven't even cut it apart yet. But I was like, damn.
Question for chat. This is kind of interesting. So, and just purely research.
How much would you pay for one of my stickers?
Yeah. How much would you pay? Not even how much would you pay, but what if if there was, I guess, whatever, us or any YouTuber that was doing kind of like inscription autograph stuff that was just funny, would you buy those cards if there was cards of that? Assuming a portion of the proceeds, a portion of the proceeds.
All Dustin.
Here he is.
Hey,
this is all Dustin's idea.
I'm just repeating what Neo said to me before we got on here. So if 8% goes to breast cancer research, how much would you pay? No, so what is that one charity that literally it's like 5% that goes to breast? It's like all like I think it's, is it Susie Komen or Susan Komen, whatever? Literally like 5% goes to actual breast cancer research. Anyway, so we've got whatever percentage, 50% goes to the national giveaway. Is that of interest to you? And it's okay if it's not. But I'm just curious.
The first thing I had to do.
But if it is, we'll print them out on Monday.
The first thing I had to do, and you guys need to do this, is realize that I am not a YouTube superstar. I am not famous. I'm just a guy like everybody else. I'm not marketable. Flipping Steve is not marketable. However,
here comes Steve and the Trojan horse.
However, when you throw a cute punum on the screen, right? People just melt, man. It's just. If this, like I said, if this was a Flipping Steve sticker, I would still have 90 of the 100 of them. But because it's a Crazy Daisy sticker, sold out.
Oh, dude. Yeah, look, I've got a cute dog too. I'm with you. Jordan already, I'm behind. I'm only 4 minutes behind. I'm doing pretty good, guys. Hey, we've held steady here, even talking about absolute garbage for the last few minutes. We're still holding up about 200 people in here. So here we go.
Hey. Thank you.
Here's my issue with Cblez is he even like doing cards at this point? Like, I just feel like it's all about sports betting and it's just sports betting. And to me, honest to God, it's kind of like, I get it, breaks and razzes and friggin' repacks and everything. But I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of gamblers in the hobby, not necessarily, collectors, but you could just say, hey, look, we need those people as well to kind of keep the ship going. Rob, didn't you say that, hey, you take the repackers out, there's a lot of liquidity lost? Essentially, that's the ecosystem.
Tomorrow's part of tomorrow's video.
Well, you guys know we can shoot a music video at the National at the Airbnb. I can be lyrics. You all hear my singing, my videos, man. I got the voice of an angel.
If you're gonna do that, just go shoot it at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Angel of Death, right? But we can sing that Jelly Roll that I be singing on the channel.
Yeah, exactly. Steve coming up with easy questions like, what is the 44th word stated in my 12th video of 2024? Yeah. It's not like, what's the area, what's the zip, or what's the area code that I live in?
Like I got to change. Gosh, thanks, Bob. Now I got to change it. People are going to go look that up right now and write it down.
Last year we did like a 4-hour stream because nobody could get any of the answers correct.
That was never ending.
Oh my God. It was so hot in this room. It was like a sauna. I was like, oh my God, they're not answering the questions. And then they don't care about me. They don't care about me. They don't know.
And we're like, Steve, you're asking like impossible questions.
Was it the year before when it was in the finals and Ziggy kept giving all the answers to the questions?
Oh, that was the first. I think that was the first year. That was the first year. I think Ziggy just gave the answer because he didn't know that we were asking for the giveaway. I don't think, or he didn't give directly the answer. He gave like a hint. Like the answer was like
it was Pearl Jam question.
Yeah, it was a Pearl Jam question. I think it was the song Black.
Yeah, it was.
And he exactly what it was. I said, what Pearl Jam song did we listen? Was the first one we ever heard on a live drive? Because remember, when I used to do the live drives, if Pearl Jam just happened to come on, I would turn it up real loud and I would do a giveaway. So you never knew if there was going to be a giveaway on my live drives or not. It was completely random if a Pearl Jam song came on. So I was like, what was the first Pearl Jam song to ever hit on a live drive? And it was Pearl Jam Black was the answer. But I remember Ziggy in the comments was like, come on, people, it's the opposite of white or something like that. So he didn't come right out and give the answer, but he gave a pretty good damn hint. Like if this was one of those game shows where you play teammates.
Phone a friend.
$25,000 pyramid. Was that one? Something like that.
Really bummed he didn't win. Moving on. All right. I bought the Daisy card because she's one of my favorite parts of the card videos I watch. I ain't buying nothing from you, Dustin. LOL. No offense. None offense taken. None offense taken. No offense taken. No offense taken.
We're just here for the feedback.
We're just gathering feedback and market research. I'll pay obscene amounts of money for the upside down repack. We're firing it up. We're firing up the upside down repack. The upside down repack where your wallet is not upside down. That's the catchphrase. That'll be the
inside out when you have to the
inside out. Yeah.
This won't be a Justin Gamble BS repack where you spend $500 and get $4 back or something.
He was at Chantilly.
Hey, I almost was going to reference that.
Here's my pressure. Like post.
Dustin in rare form tonight. I love it.
Post. Cards. Bleh. Post.
I can't wait to clip that out and post it on an Instagram.
Oh, this is great.
Clip it up. It's just so bad, man. It's just so bad. It's so dumb. Anyway, but you know what though? There's a certain demographic that loves that. Fine.
You know what? He had a media badge to the CSA show and we didn't.
Dude, and that just tells you everything you need to know right there.
Because I was talking about my next video. I'm going to be referencing repacks and and I talked earlier about how there are good ones that you can trust, and then there are bad ones that are scams that you can't trust, just like there is in every walk of life. And actually, his is one of the ones that could be referenced as the scam.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, he moved off of it pretty quickly, right? I don't think he still does it. Hopefully.
Well, not shortly after that, he came up with a reason to quit doing content and then came back. So it was just kind of like, hey, I'm going to lay low while this blows over. I'm old enough to realize that. However, his audience probably did not. I
like when Steve throws shade in videos every once in a while, like the one your Chantilly vlog, whatever. When you're like talking about like $50,000 card deals that they're buying, all these YouTubers, but wait, it's not actually even their money that they're spending.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
No, I'm just saying it's.
I mean, probably if you would take
I saw a title up where it was like, we're buying on eBay for 24 hours. And then I look at the stream is over. It's a 2-hour stream. I'm like, bro, if you're buying on eBay for 24 hours, I expect to log it. You better clock in a 24-hour stream. What are we even talking about here?
When do we do? When are we breaking out a 24-hour stream? At some point in time, we're gonna get desperate enough to do that. Someone's gonna rope us into some fun. You know how they do those fundraisers where it's like stay up for 24 hours and play video games or whatever. Like it's only a matter of time.
Who was the influencer I threw a shot at in video number 32? Oh, that's a trivia question.
What is?
I don't know that question. I got to go look that answer up myself.
What does Steve think about people that make YouTube videos about how bad YouTube content is?
Oh my God, hey. Steve, you took an exception to that one.
Well, the viewer or the person who created that video ended up viewing that video and commenting just the other day, even though that video has been out for a long time. And I don't want to say he was like apologetic, but he was like, hey, I think you just kind of took it the wrong way. And I didn't mean for it to be personal and things like that. And myself, I'm over it. Like I said, I wasn't going to spend any more energy on it. That after I shot that video that day, I was done with it. And, to him, I said, it's no worries. It's fine. People are on social media to say what they want to say, so it's not like I've been holding a grudge for the last month or however long it's been. I said my little piece in my video and that's it. I've been pumping out other videos since then.
I just kind of like the sparring back and forth. It's fun, like a little bit of that is fun. So I get it. But anytime, but of course, look, if you're trying to grow a channel too, and you're, that's probably a good video to make. Card content sucks,
It's a good video to make because you're going to get eyes on it, but it's right. But if you want to be able to socialize and be friendly with other content creators, and I'm not saying rub elbows with the big dogs, but I'm just saying, be be chill with like we are, just be friendly and cordial with everybody. You can help each other out and say, hey, why don't you go check out so-and-so's video? He put out a nice video today. And by word of mouth, back in the day, and me and Neo, we were social, but we weren't friends yet, I don't think. And I had put out a video, and it may have been running down the Dallas show, not running it down in a bad way. I mean, talking about the Dallas show that I think I referenced earlier. And I put out a video on it. And that video was getting a lot of views. And I was like, wow. I was like, people are really interested about the Dallas show, or they've stumbled onto my channel or something, but this is getting a lot of views. And then I remember going and watching a video of Neo's, and he said, Flipping Steve put out a good video running down this show. Go check it out if you want to, hear about how this show played out. And I attribute all those views, or a lot of those views that I was getting, because Neo mentioned my name and my channel in one of his videos. And this was before, like I said, we spoke a lot and things like that. You just happened to catch one of my videos and liked it and mentioned it in one of your videos. And just that mention, I noticed that in my views for that specific video in particular, a lot. So, if you're going to come out and rub some people the wrong way and talk bad about all of them and splash their thumbnails all over your screen, that's not a really great way to grow your channel. Yeah, you might get some views for people looking for drama, but those views die. They go away. It gets old.
I'm sorry. The comment section is fantastic.
Dustin's in rare form because he's like 4 rums in.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
Like, yeah.
Not necessarily. Hey, it's been a long week. It's
only Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
You Neo's going to be running tonight, Dustin.
Neo's going to be running Beckett one day. There you go.
Hey, I wouldn't want to run that shit company.
You think I get some black labels?
Yeah, everybody gets
black labels. This is the stuff, man. Bro, Mojo, you're going to run a 24-hour stream. It's not an hour and 48 minutes if it's 24 hours. Anyway, but then it's like part 2. What, you going to do part 12?
Yeah, it was 24 hours, just not consecutively, Dustin.
Okay, so it's going to be 12. It's going to be 12 parts to it then.
Didn't you know off center we're doing a 24-hour stream? It's just over the course of 6 weeks.
I'm just going to start naming this the 24-hour stream, and then over a year we'll cover 24 hours. The only 24-hour stream on the internet, and people are like, "But it ended after 2. I don't get it." Bob Boozle, see you at the National, brother.
I got a casino question down here from Jack. I'll answer when we get there.
When we're all retired, we'll go and do all the vlog shit that all these other guys do. And we've talked about this. Steve, Rob, and I, when we're all retired, we'll go and do. We'll be those like cranky 60-year-old dudes that are out at the card show. Like, dealers suck out here. These dealers don't have it.
I'll be mixing in clips from the bingo hall and the senior center. And my grandmother is like 93 years old, and she just got an invite to her high school reunion, senior reunion. I think there's like 3. Yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, how many are left? And I think she was like 3 or maybe 4.
So that's not a reunion. That's just going to dinner.
Right.
Steve, Bob Boozle might have to win just for like an honorary winner this year.
Honorable mention.
Honorable winner. That's just what it is. We got to have Boozle. Right. Well, hey, I'll give him credit here. If he said whatnot for 24, this is funny. He was only on for like 12. All right, well, 12 is a long time. I'll give him that. I wouldn't mind 12, but an hour 48 or whatever. I mean, come on.
If you take a break every hour, on a 12-hour or on a 24-hour live stream, then it is only 12 hours of live stream.
I think the longest I've ever. What's the longest you've ever gone, Dustin? I think mine's like 4 or 5 hours, probably with Dakota.
Oh, I think I've only been at like 3, maybe a little.
Dakotas have been long. I know Carlos is go long.
Dakota's done some like 6-7 hour ones back in the prime peak pandemic.
He'd just be up all night partying and What, sports cards and chill, right?
And those are kind of the days when you couldn't leave the house.
This is kind of like my ode to Dakota shirt.
It needs to be purple.
Hey, Dakota got a crazy day. Dakota got a crazy daisy sticker.
We should have Dakota on. I mean, I don't know if he'll come on because he's a hermit nowadays. But
I don't think the internet works in his house anymore.
Yeah, he just shut it off. He cut the line.
He can only text in his Discord. That's it. It can't support video.
You know who I haven't seen in a while on social media, and I even tried to message them, and like their Instagram is in like sleep mode, but I'm not sure if they know it. Is Jay? Now you do Tuesdays, your shout out day, and Jay sit and duck cards or whatever, right?
Yeah, I connected with him recently
in our fantasy league. Like I just haven't been able to contact him.
He's been really busy.
Okay, I just wanted to send him a message to ask him if it was okay. And sometimes, I also told him I wanted to tell him I was going to be in Chantilly because I know I've met him in Chantilly before. So I just didn't know. Like sometimes when I don't hear from people that I've connected with, through social media or the hobby or whatever, I start to get worried.
Don't forget about Jack's card counting question.
Oh, I'm all over it.
Well, Dustin skipped it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's
how many people have you taken to the back room, Steve?
No. I was going to say, here's the general policy on any casino in any state. It's not against the law. It's not illegal to count cards. So it's not considered to be cheating. Okay. It's considered advantage player, which means you're taking away a little bit of the house edge. You can never take it fully away. A game like blackjack is 60-40 in favor of the house. A card counter on a perfect count is looking to get that to 57-43, right? They're looking to get a little bit in their favor, and they're really looking to capitalize on their double downs and their splits. They're not worried about grinding out the single hands. So they're looking for their aces and their faces because that's when you're going to be able to double down and split a lot. So that's advantage.
If you're a card counter, you're screwed if you walk in.
I'm just saying. So that's an advantage player, but it's not considered a cheater. Like a cheater is somebody who adds to a bet when they've already won, or taken away from the bet when they know that they've lost, or tries to swap cards. They're playing two hands on poker and they're trying to swap cards from one hand to another and actually trying to cheat. Card counting is a skill, so you can't be arrested for it, but you can be backed off. If someone notices and they suspect you of being an advantage player, you'll be approached and you'll be told, look, you no longer have any action on the table games. You're welcome to play slots. You're welcome to maybe play roulette or dice, but you no longer have any action on blackjack or even any of the card games for that matter. And that's usually how it's handled. You see in the movies, they take you in the back and they break your hand, like in the movie Casino, but that's Hollywood. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. And yeah, I mean, that's basically to answer the question. There's a lot more to get into, but that's from a casino security side, what I'm looking for when I'm looking for an advantage player. But yeah, you'll just be backed off. And a card counter would never argue. Like when I go to back somebody off a table and I tell them, look, I don't even have to tell them you're an advantage player. I'm just like, look, you have no more action on blackjack. 99% of the time, they don't even question me and they don't argue because they know that they're an advantage player. And they know that now I know that they're an advantage player.
So they want to get out of there, right? At that point?
No, because we can't take the money back from them.
Well, but they're probably like, okay, I'll cash out and just move on.
Yeah, cash out and move on.
They're not going
to try to. No. A card counter wants the least amount of attention on themselves as they can possibly get.
They don't want to be flagged, right?
They don't want to be watched.
Yeah.
You can't catch a card counter if you're not watching them, unless your dealer is good and your dealer can say, hey, this can get the supervisor's attention and say, hey, this guy is playing a little against the book, or he's fluctuating his bets very strong, or things like that.
Let's shift over.
You don't want to draw attention to yourself.
Would they if you catch someone, would they ever come back in like months later and try to play again, or no? Is it like, okay, I've been burned here and I'm done, I'm never going back?
No, they could, but it's going to be a long period of time. See, when you burn an advantage player, their face goes into a facial recognition system that's worldwide. It's a biometrics program. It's basically a fingerprint for your face. So surveillance is going to get that shot for me. That's going to be inputted into a database that's worldwide. And at any time, I can call for a biometric on a player out of suspicion. I mean, I can call anytime I want. I mean, somebody could sit down that plays every single day there that's a regular player. I could call surveillance and say, hey, let me get a bio on this player, blackjack table 304, seat 3. And they'll come back and be like, hey, that bio is negative. Or they'll come back and say, hey, I got 3 different hits on that bio. You want to come back and look at these photos? Tell me what you think. And I'll go back and I'll be like, yep, that guy's been burned in this casino under this name. He's been burned in this casino under an alias, typically things like that. And then I'll be like, look, sir, or ma'am, you no longer have any action.
So that was going to be my next question. So would you back them off immediately then when you saw that, or would you actually wait for them to show that they're an advantage player sitting at your table?
No, I would back them off immediately before they have a chance. But here's the thing. There's ways that I can back a card counter off a table without even doing it, without even saying a word. When you okay, so when you shuffle a deck of cards, right? The player cuts it, and then the dealer cuts it, and the dealer will cut, maybe 2 or so decks off the back of it and put it into the shoe, right? If you've ever played blackjack and witnessed that, I'm not sure. All I got to do is say cut the deck to half, which means instead of cutting 2 decks off the back of the shoe, cut somewhere between 4 and 6 decks. Throw your cut card in the middle of that shoe, because now the card counter can't count it down. Not enough cards come out for them to establish a count, and they'll see that. And I'll do that intentionally. I'll be like,
because they know what you're doing. Then they're like, oh,
they know that I'm on to them. They know that now I've cut the deck to half, and it doesn't do them any good to sit there and try to count cards. Now, other players may say, why did you just cut the deck to half? And I'm going to be like, look, if you're not a card counter, you've got nothing to worry about. And I'll make that statement nice and loud and clear. And then we proceed.
This was
with the game.
awkward when Steve had to do this to me.
Yeah, right.
This is how we met. And then we started talking.
Okay, so have you ever heard of the Highland Count Team?
No.
Okay, so the movie 21 that was in theaters.
This movie 21
was based around the Highland Count Team. There's a guy called Thomas Highland, and he heads up, and he'd come up with the system for different systems for counting down cards, built different teams. Very good at it. You got to be smart. Card counters are smart. This is a skill. So I'm not cutting down a card counter. I mean, damn, you got to do your work to get good at it. But I've busted Thomas Highland in our casino playing under an alias on a biometrics program because I was watching his action and I was like, this isn't right. Backed him off. Not a question asked. So, and he's known in the casino business. It should be by every casino boss out there because of how popular he is for having a count team and being a card counter. So popular that they made a movie about it. But it doesn't prevent him from still going into casinos and trying.
When's the casino channel start, Steve? We need the casino Steve channel.
I feel like Steve's channel would blow up.
Yeah, because a lot of people, because the way casinos operate has always been something that's kind of like mystery. It's not that it's not talked about because you're not allowed to talk about it. It's just that people don't typically ask about it because they don't think that you can talk about it. But really, it's a lot of it's common. You can Google anything.
How much would you pay for Steve's casino cards with dice in the card?
Crazy Daisy decks.
I might be taking it off the top.
There's a pair of dice on etched on the downtown card. A set or 2 dice actually. But yeah, I mean, anything can, like I said, anything can be Googled these days. Like I can sit here and tell people how it works and what people do in the casino, but you can also Google it. I mean, he's talking about he is watching a online class or whatever, teaching him how to card count, right? This is like a unwritten art form or is a skill that people don't really talk about because it's typically frowned upon, because most people think that it's cheating. So it's frowned upon because it has the stigmatism of it being something that a cheater does. But I don't look at it as somebody that's cheating. I just look at it as somebody who's smart, has done their homework, and they're just trying to get a slighted, advantage in their favor because the house takes all the advantage.
All right. Speaking of the house taking their piece, how do we feel about the 2024 NFL QB class? Overhyped? How many of them are going to be good?
How many do you think are going in the first round, first of all?
I think 5.
Like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say if a quarterback goes in the second round and he doesn't pan out, I'm not going to call him a bust. So bust is all relative to draft position, right? It's all relative to how much draft capital a team has to spend on a player for somebody to be labeled a bust. So you say 5 in the first round?
Yeah.
The biggest potential to be so a lot of these quarterbacks is going to depend on where they land, and it's not going to be their fault from a skill standpoint. The only person I think that stands out with super elite skill or everybody else is probably Caleb Williams. So I think a lot of the other quarterbacks who kind of jumble up there together, and you don't know who's going to go second, who's going to go third, because this team could be looking for this, that, and the other. I think it's going to have a lot to do with where they land. I think a quarterback like JJ McCarron, is that his name? McCarthy. I'm thinking of McCarron because I was watching the game the other night, and AJ McCarron was quarterbacking for a team. The league that they're playing right now, that semi-pro league or whatever it is.
USFL or something?
I don't know. Anyway, he was out there quarterbacking the other night, and I was like, man, he used to back up on the Bengals. But anyway, him, I think if he falls to a team that's not very talented, he's not going to do very well. But I feel like if he ends up going to a team like the Vikings, who have a lot of weapons around him, first round draft pick receiver last year, Jordan Addison. We know they have Justin Jefferson. So it's like he will be put in a situation where he can succeed, although I do think he'll sit behind Sam Darnold to begin with. But and again, whoever falls to the Patriots, I mean, that's a I don't if I'm a quarterback coming out in the prospect, I don't want to go to the Patriots.
Yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for some of these guys.
It's not just that the team is bad and they have a new head coach and they don't have a lot of offensive talent there. And I think they have a defensive-minded head coach. The other thing is you're forever in the shadow of Tom Brady. So it's like you have high expectations and you don't have nearly the talent around you that you need to be effective. So I think a lot of it's situational on some of these guys that are going, second, third, and fourth quarterback off the board. And then I think the guys that go later, they have less pressure to perform, and more than likely they're going to land on a team where they're going to have a little bit more time because those teams are going to be bad. So they're going to be expected to get a little bit more time. But if you're a team that's wanting to win now, so I think if 5 go in the first round, I think 2 of them will be Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. And I think the other 3 will kind of dwindle around. I think the third one could be like a moderate quarterback. And then there'll be 2 that are just guys that become backups or are out of the league. Rob, and that's usually the general averages.
Rob, what do you think about the QB class?
I don't know if I'm buying the Caleb Williams hype train or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I mean, look, he just played like garbage last year.
I mean, more often than not, these guys bust out. I listen to Ryan Russillo covers this on his podcast all the time, going over the bust rate of first round quarterbacks, and it's not good. Most of these guys fail for the most part.
I mean, 2020 is the last class where I think all of the quarterbacks are still starting and being effective. But 2018 had its flops. 2019 was very quarterback light. It was basically Kyler, Daniel Jones, and I think Gardner Minshew came in there very late. And right now, Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. So could that be to do with situation because the Giants have just been bad, or the Giants just been bad because Daniel Jones has been bad?
Yeah, like even like 2021, that class had all the shine on it, and then Trevor Lawrence sucked last year, and Fields is like a backup now. Like,
yeah,
life comes at you fast. Like even Herbert, like the shines come off Herbert a ton.
Fields is only a backup because Chicago ruined his career. Not only did they not put him in a very good – well, they drafted him, and the team offensively, other than him, there was nothing there. They just acquired DJ Moore last year. So they got him a receiver, but they had no offensive line. He was running for his life. He was making plays with his legs. And then when it came time to trade him, they asked for too much.
Pittsburgh in the dark.
Yeah, I know. But like I said, Pittsburgh would have settled on Justin Fields over Russell Wilson if Chicago's original asking price wasn't so much. But see, Chicago knows that they messed him up. That's why they've already gone out and they got DeAndre Swift. They traded for Keenan Allen, a good veteran receiver. They still have DJ Moore there. So they're like, okay, look, we want to bring in a young prospect quarterback. This time we need to be a little bit more ready instead of just throwing him into the fire, regardless of who they take. I mean, they're prepping to take a quarterback. That's why they're putting all these new pieces around them. But they didn't do anything for Justin Fields.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fields didn't really have a whole lot to work with. A lot of it is situation. So much is situation.
Well, I mean, look at Miami.
Yeah. Did I see that Tua got paid?
They give him his 5th-year extension. We didn't give him a long term.
Okay.
So he was still on like his rookie contract. So he had his 5th-year option basically. And so here's where Miami was sitting. They're sitting at what I think it's a $17 million cap hit if they give him his 5th-year option, or extend him for say 5 years and take a $6 million cap hit this year. They chose to take the $17 million cap hit and give him his 5th-year option because they just don't trust to sign him long term.
Yeah.
Now the money and the budget made sense. Lock him up long term. We take a $6 million cap hit. We got a lot more money to spend on free agency. But they were like, oh, to hell with that. We would rather just give him $17 million on a 5th-year option and then extend him this year if he proves that he's the quarterback we want to keep.
But that's smart. That was a smart move.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of money to like take a cap hit on, but they thought the cap hit was worth it. So, so that's where they're sitting with Tua. But honestly, take away the pieces that they put around Tua, and he is an average quarterback.
Right.
With those pieces, he's not even what I would call great. He's pretty good, right? But
I'd love to have Tyreek on the Saints, my God. And all of a sudden, Derek Carr would look a lot better if we had Tyreek. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Neo fell into the abyss, and we're over 2 hours in. It's 11:07.
I don't know what the fuck my camera's doing.
I think that's a sign, though. I think we should wrap it. We still have almost 200 people here, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining. But I'm on EST. It's 11:07, and I'm an old man with 4 kids. So
you got plays to drop.
I've got yeah, exactly. I've got flag football to figure out. We were coming off a loss. It's not been pretty in the house. My son is like, Dad, you going to put a game plan together, a winning game plan, or what? Like, what are we doing?
I told you to print out the Tecmo Bowl.
that might be it. That might be it.
4 plays. That's not too overwhelming. 2 passing plays, 2 rushing plays. Good to go.
Yeah, it's a lot, dude. Trust me, it sounds easy, but when you're out there and you're in the moment and you're calling and you kind of have like shot clock call plays, like you have to make decisions on the fly.
Well, but we'll pretend you're playing Tecmo Bowl. Boom! Just put that play, send that play in there, baby.
Yeah. I don't have a Bo Jackson necessarily, but we have some good players. We have some good players. All right. But here's the problem with it is that we have to give the ball to Bo Jackson, but everybody else too, and then win. That's the real challenge.
What you do,
you don't have to. You're the coach. You can do whatever you want.
You build a big lead, and then you just let everybody else get some action.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, maybe we'll do that. We're going West Coast offense. That's right. All right, cool. All right, guys. Hey, we're gonna wrap it. Thank you very much for watching. Everybody tuning in tonight. Appreciate you. A lot of big hobby news, and everyone's still kind of clucking along here. You know, we're keeping on. It's a good time. So
hey, it's been a fun stream.
Yeah, it was a good stream. Chat was active. Thank you so much, chat, for showing up. You're always the heartbeat of the stream, so we very much appreciate you. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks closer to the national. Hell, I mean, what are we 3 months out from the national? Just about. We're getting close. Well, at least till the giveaway. We're getting close to the giveaway. 90 days out.
Mm-hmm.
So watch all of Steve's videos, every last single second of it, and memorize it, or you won't win.
I'm not pumping the videos out. It's fast, so it'll be a little bit easier.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.